Hello. Today is July 23rd, and we've had a lot of rain. It's been raining continuously, so I came out to check on the field and found this. The drainage in this field is actually quite good, you see, so there's been no waterlogging or any significant rain damage here. Even with all the heavy rain we've had, the water seems to have drained quite effectively. I planted several kinds of crops this year. I've tried many things, and I've already finished harvesting the potatoes, which were planted a while ago, and then the carrots and turnips. So the remaining crops that need harvesting now include cucumbers, then eggplants and peppers, and I also have to harvest some corn today. Regarding the lettuce, I planted this summer type. The spring lettuce harvest concluded, and I sowed these seeds in early June. Now the lettuce is thriving quite nicely. This is currently the ideal time for harvesting. Allow me to demonstrate again. Regarding the cucumbers now. The cucumbers are getting old now, so there's a lot of deterioration. So the cucumbers are getting a bit old, so I think I'll clear them out now. I might try fall cucumbers. These could probably last until fall. If I give them more nutrients, they could make it, but with a severe nutrient deficiency, they start to get misshapen like this. So I used that high-speed product, which is for later stages, and I continuously applied it via fertigation, approximately once every 4 or 5 days. And I've picked a lot of cucumbers. You can see many of them are growing. If I apply high-speed or something similar through fertigation again, they'll grow well. Fruits get bigger too, but these come from nutrient deficiency. Nutrient deficiency. See how it's all shriveled and bent? Those bent ones have almost no commercial value. You can't even eat them, really. This is what nutrient deficiency looks like. It could also be a lack of water, but if you just use fertigation, they'll grow normally. You'll get nicely shaped cucumbers. These ones are now. I've harvested quite a bit, and once the remaining ones are fully ripe, those will also be done, so I'm told. So for those as well, with high speed, I only applied it once a week and not in large amounts. I gave it little by little, monitoring the tomato's condition. Too much water can harm the fruit, so I fertigated sparingly. Tomatoes really give me a hard time. That's because of the white spot disease, so I applied a foliar feeding with a calcium supplement on them at that time. Biscari, it got much better, so now there's almost no white spot disease. But since the weather is good, soft rot. Those things still appear, and since we're going to eat these, I use almost no pesticide. Occasionally fruits in somewhat poor condition also emerge, but it's mostly fine. It's an apple. An apple watermelon. I've planted just one apple watermelon plant here, and it was specifically for mulching purposes. The apple watermelon is now growing in this manner. Due to its weight, it was on the verge of falling, so I had to support it using some parts. When it grows a bit larger, I'll need to secure it further. I think I can simply treat it like any other watermelon. Elevating it significantly improves air circulation, and it receives ample sunlight, which ensures the fruit sets properly and grows to its full potential. The eggplants have produced a ton too. So for the eggplants, if you look here, people say to use solid fertilizer. Solid fertilizer. Solid fertilizer. I placed 2 pellets on each side. It's doing really well now. On the inside, leaves and stems. I cleared them well, so ventilation's good. They're producing well. And then there are those thriving from fertilizer. Regarding fertilization, what did I use? A pepper-specific fertilizer as a base fertilizer. That plus horticultural solid fertilizer. Those two work exceptionally well. So as you can see, the eggplants have produced so much. They're huge. I think they'll grow taller than 2 meters. It's been almost nearly a month now. But even judging by the color so far, it doesn't seem to be lacking anything. However, I think I'll probably need to give it another round of fertilization. Look at these peppers. These peppers are huge. Oops, it broke. Wow. It broke, but that's okay. The yield is too high. Well, see that? The yield. Look here, there are so many. It's incredible. Overall, the peppers have produced abundantly, and I used a pepper-specific fertilizer. Then, on top of that, I applied solid fertilizer. It seems to last a long time, because even though some time has passed since I applied the solid fertilizer, you can tell by the deep green color of these peppers. That means there's still plenty of green in them, so I don't think I need to worry about top dressing. So the pods are growing well. We had a lot of rain recently. It rained continuously for, more than 10 days? And since peppers are particularly susceptible to pests and diseases, I made sure to apply fertigation during those intermittent days when the rain let up, ensuring the plants received necessary nutrients and protection. At that moment, I performed irrigation, and if there was a short break in the rain, even for just a couple of hours, I would quickly irrigate the crops. If you do that, you can grow them without major issues from pests and diseases. Otherwise, if you just leave them during the monsoon season, the plants won't be able to withstand the pests and diseases, the produce either. So during the brief moments when it's not raining, I check the forecast, and that's when I spray them once in a while. I'll do an irrigation spray. If you look from the other side, you'll see a ton. This here is a Korean melon. It's also passing by. These are field-grown Korean melons, so after harvest, the leaves start to show anthracnose and similar issues. Then downy mildew. All these things hit at once. Then the Korean melon plant just can't take it, and its leaves end up looking like this. So this is the end of season harvest. You can just consider this picking what's ripe and clearing it all out. I've done it 2 or 3 times. After those 2 or 3 harvests, whatever is left at the bottom, I'll pick, and then the Korean melons will be finished for the season. I've harvested quite a lot of Korean melons. For them, just like the eggplants, tomatoes, and cucumbers in this row, I used the same fertilization. Organic, bagged, and horticultural solid fertilizers. Horticultural solid fertilizer was used. Cultivation and harvesting weren't difficult. No major struggles were encountered. Nothing was held back. It's finished. They're dead. Once picked, it's done. The sweet potatoes are also growing very well. They're coming along nicely. They're growing really well and cleanly with no dead plants. I'll harvest them in cool weather around mid-October. They didn't get a huge amount of sun, but they've grown moderately well. And for these sweet potatoes, I don't use any compost or fertilizer. They're just on bare ground. I didn't give them anything at all. I planted all the vines. It doesn't look like it, but they turned out just right. If there's too much of it, the leaves get really dark and start turning reddish, which eventually results in a much smaller sweet potato yield, both in terms of number and individual size. Therefore, for that specific purpose, it's actually quite outstanding. It's good. The sweet potato roots come monsoon. When the monsoon comes, the parts touching the ground. Parts touching the ground, if rooted, can become sweet potatoes. Because of that, some folks frequently take them on both sides, like this here, and do this with them. They lift them up like this to keep the roots from touching the ground. Some people do that, and others just leave them be. So I haven't personally confirmed it with research or anything, but I'm just going to leave them as they are, exactly as they are. I'll just leave them and plan to harvest them later. Alright, so over here I planted several watermelon plants. They've grown quite a bit, and now these watermelons are nearly ready to be harvested. Now for watermelon. People talk about tapping them, but there are a few key signs. You need to check the blossom end, and if this stem area has sunken in slightly. That, and also between the stem and here, you check if the fine hairs in this area have smoothed out. That, and then there's the tendril here. The tendril. This is the tendril, which grabs on. Once this tendril dries up, that indicates it's harvest time. Typically, watermelons are harvested. Harvest is between 35 and 45 days. Apple watermelons take about 35, regular ones 40 to 45. But given the weather and conditions, it might not always apply, right? It's difficult to accurately mark or remember specific dates, and it's not easy to keep track of them. These three things. To me, the surest sign is the tendril. It's dried, right? Then it's harvest time. But just tapping is a bit tough, I find. This part here, it's a bit rounded and has sunken in, hasn't it? And then the fine hairs here are completely smooth. And this tendril, this one here, it's dried up. That means it's ready for harvest. Premium. A premium product. I planted the watermelons here, here, and over here. I planted them like this, trained the vines around, and planted more. I used organic fertilization for each pyong, and then... And recently, all the plants, from the bottom to the top, have received solid fertilizer completely. For this area, I placed 3 solid fertilizer pellets at intervals between the plants. For each plant, the horticultural solid fertilizer. About 1.5 pellets went in. 2 watermelons here were discarded. These watermelons, what kind are they? Cold damaged. They suffered cold damage. I just planted what should have been discarded right here. Miraculously, they grew, so I naturally left them to thrive, recognizing it as a gift. I just let them grow, leaving them to their own devices, even the ones I almost discarded. Sometimes those are the very ones that thrive surprisingly well, you know. It's truly amazing. The will to live is a survival instinct. So for these, since I planted them without any fertilizer, I gave them high-speed fertigation about 3 times. For approximately 1 week after the fruit had set, I continued the treatment weekly, around 3 times in total. As a result, I ended up with some truly remarkable watermelons. Quite decent indeed. Let's check the degrees. So I'm going to attempt to harvest the corn now. You see? That's what I'll do. Usually you harvest corn after about 100 days. Direct seeding or seedlings, it's about 100 days. This one's 110. So corn harvesting usually involves considering the corn silk. When the silk turns brown and dries, it's harvest time. So it's now ready to harvest. For corn, I performed direct seeding, utilizing a convenient organic fertilizer as the foundational base when I planted them. Then, following that initial planting, when the moisture level reached about knee-high, when the plants were about knee-high, I then inserted 2 horticultural solid fertilizer pellets right there in the middle between the plants. After that, I haven't used any top dressing. I just added that 1 round of horticultural solid fertilizer. Judging by the color of these leaves, it seems to be in good shape. Also, its height is considerably greater than the corn in other fields. This corn, it looks like it's really absorbed a lot of nutrients. It absorbed a lot of fertilizer. Now, let's take a look at how much moisture it gained and how well the kernels have actually matured. I'm going to verify the corn's development. When you look at the corn and want to confirm if it has matured properly, you press it with your fingernail. If it breaks open and a milky white liquid comes out, then that indicates it's perfectly ripe. Then it's not quite ripe. But if it's firm, with elasticity when pressed, it's fully ripened. This one looks perfectly ripe right now, so I'll pick it. So, I'll pick this one. It's already well ripened. Corn's almost. It's matured perfectly, very neatly, all the way to the very top. Not a single part was missed. The kernels are packed tightly and ripened well. Not a single section is missing. Yes, this is excellent. I've picked 3 of them already, and their condition is truly excellent. They turned out perfectly, very clean indeed. Yep, looks good. I can harvest it all now. So if you look here, sometimes there are 2 cobs growing on a stalk. And even if there are 2, this one can still be considered a viable commercial product. This is the premium product. You should count on 1 per plant. Even if 2 grow, see how this one has full kernels? If you look at the one below it, it will probably have almost no kernels. Therefore, you truly shouldn't have high expectations for the one below it. There was 1, 2, 3 cobs here. I already showed you the first one, and this is the second one. Let's see why the second one isn't a viable product. The second one is very small, isn't it? Small, and if you look, but it hasn't even ripened yet, has it? So only one is a good product. The ones below it are no good. Now you know what to do with the first and second ones, since there's such a big difference. The first one is the premium product. It's best not to expect much from the second one. That's how you should think about it. For corn, you harvest just one per plant. Getting two is pretty tough. That specific one was planted a bit late, you see. Yes, it's rather short. Considering it's already around July 20th, the intense heat waves are beginning, and there aren't many viable crops left to plant during the summer season. So, from August onwards, I need to start preparing for kimchi vegetables, specifically kimchi cabbage and kimchi radish. Yes, to plant those kinds of things, we need to do some advanced field preparation and make the beds ready.
And around early August, I'll prepare the field, apply fertilizer, and then, typically for radishes, I'll directly sow the seeds around August 20th.
I'll do direct seeding. And for the cabbage, specifically in the central region, I typically plant from around late August until early September. The weather is constantly getting hotter, so I'm planning on planting a bit later this time around. So some might be planted earlier as a trial, perhaps a few cabbage seedlings, but then others will be planted a bit later. I'll experiment with these two different planting approaches in two distinct stages, and that's something I'll be undertaking. For other vegetable patches, or things like peppers, you know. Then for eggplants, perilla leaves, and similar plants, you have to appropriately apply fertilizer and top dressing. Yes, that's exactly right. I'm planting crops from August onwards, and I've been doing it that way for quite some time now. Oh, I think this one's ripe. Wow, it really did well. It's splitting. Hear that? Wow, it's amazing. Perfect ripeness. Really, wow, it's ripe.